You sitting on the other side of the screen. I don't know you, but I can tell you as a stranger that you are worthy. You are valuable. No material thing, no situation, no amount of friends or money or anything is going to add or take away from your value. You just already are. And the only person you need to believe that is you. Hello everyone, my name is Monica and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is on how you are already worthy, whole, and complete right now in this moment as you are. So this might be something that you already know and have already truly discovered for yourself. It's no longer just something that you believe, but it's actually something that you know, which is different from belief. It's stronger, it's ingrained in you. Then there are other people who might say, yeah, Monica, of course that's true. I believe that to be true. But do you truly know it? And this is something that I have believed for a while now, but I have recently just discovered for myself a knowing that this is 100% accurate and true. Your husband or wife leaves you, divorces you, you're still valuable. You lose your job, you're still valuable. You become very sick or disabled and other people have to take care of you. Maybe you're lying in bed most of the time and have no energy. You're still valuable. You gain a bunch of weight, you're still valuable. You make a bad business deal or a business deal doesn't go through, you're still valuable. You lose your job, you're still valuable. Your family disowns you, you're still valuable. You fail a class, you get a flunking grade, you drop out of college. Guess what? You're still valuable. Are you starting to get where I'm going with this? You can start to become vulnerable and feel like you've lost your worthiness. And throughout your life, you can feel, oh, I'm worthy now because I have this. Oh, but I lost it, so now I'm unworthy. And now I'm worthy because I got something else. But oh, no, now I don't have this thing, so I'm not worthy. And it's like it just keeps going up and down and fluctuating. But in reality, it's always the same. It may sound silly if you haven't been through any of these things, but when you've gone through something that really shakes up your world and really makes you question who you are and what do you have to contribute to the world. What are the two most frequently asked questions when you first meet somebody? It could be anybody. It could be at a party and you're making small talk with some people you don't know. It's primarily always going to be, where do you work or what do you do for a living and where are you from? And I really don't like the first question about what I do for work, because what most people, a higher percentage of people, do for work or do for a living isn't necessarily tied to their passion or what they want to be doing. A lot of times it's just a way to pay the bills. It's just a way to survive. But it still feels like, and a lot of times it is, that people are judging us based on what we do or based on our job. And it seems like it becomes part of our identity. They're like, oh, that person's a cashier, or oh my gosh, that person's a doctor or scientist or lawyer, and woo, you know. And people get very, very excited when they hear certain job titles that are considered higher up than other job titles. The question of where you're from can, for some people, be a judgment, like, oh, I'm from a better part of town or from a better city or country or whatever like that. But it also could be just that they're just curious where you're from. They may have been there, and it does describe a little bit about you. It does describe something about you, but it also doesn't define you as well, where you're from or what job you happen to be doing at that point in time. Self-worth and self-value has been something that I have struggled with my entire life. Actually, correction, not my entire life. I can't really remember what age I started doubting my self-worth and self-value, and it was Of course, gradually over time, it didn't just happen overnight. If you think back to when you were a kid, as young as you can remember, I can remember back to the age of 6 that I was fully awake. I was, my third eye was opened, and I was very present and in tune with the universe around me. And on average, kids up until the age of 8 are in this awakened state where they're just kind of figuring out the world and taking in all the information and absorbing everything that they're learning. I remember before a time when society's ideals and my culture started to get ingrained in my mind as to who I should be, what I should look like. This is back before I got very self-conscious about my appearance, back before I turned the age where I felt the pressure of being a woman, meaning that I needed to shave in order to conform and fit in. I needed to wear makeup, and I needed to style my hair a certain way, wear certain clothes, have certain purses, shoes, accessories, where it all started to feel like that my outer appearance was a reflection of my inner value, which is so not true. But there was a time, back when we were younger, when life was just so simple. I mean, you took everything at face value. It was just so much easier before you started to get conditioned by society with certain beliefs. So one of the most important things that you need to know when you're trying to manifest and you're using the law of attraction, it is that you need to know that you're worthy of everything you want in this life. It doesn't matter how big or grand it seems or out of reach. You have to know that you're worthy of it. And it doesn't matter what happened in your past. It doesn't matter what you're afraid is going to happen in the future. What matters is right now. Over time, we start to have certain things in our life or certain traits about ourselves that we really value or other people might really value. And we get to a point that we might identify with these traits so much to the point that we think we are them, and without them we don't have as much value, that our value decreases in some way. For example, if someone's a professional athlete, I've heard stories of people who've been injured, say in football, or even ended up in a wheelchair somehow when they were a basketball player, and those athletes identified so much with the sport and being a football player or a basketball player to the point that when they weren't doing it anymore, they felt kind of worthless. And it makes me so sad to think about that. But I've also had instances in my life, plenty of instances, where I didn't feel I was worthy of something or I was valuable. For instance, one thing that I really valued when I was younger was my looks. I was very happy with the way I looked. I had my ideal body. I had great skin. I mean, I didn't really have any complaints, maybe small things here or there. And I felt really comfortable in my skin. And I would get a lot of attention from other people. I would get a lot of compliments telling me that how beautiful I was and I was gorgeous and all of this stuff. And so when I got to a point now where I've gained a lot of weight and my skin has broken out, I felt less valuable because I put a lot of value and identity into my looks. And I know a lot of people, especially women, have gone through this. And it doesn't have to just be with your looks. It can be with, if you're really, really intelligent and you think of yourself as the smartest person in the class or the school, and somebody else comes in and they're considered more smart is that a word? But they're considered smarter than you, or they do better in certain tests and projects than you do, then you might start to feel like your worthiness and your value has gone down because you put your identity into being smart. Or maybe you put all of your value into being in a relationship. When you're in a relationship with someone, you give them everything, you're taking care of this person maybe, and you're doing things for them, and that makes you feel worthy and valuable. But as soon as you're not in a relationship and you're single, you don't know what to do with yourself. You don't spend all that energy and time focusing on yourself because you don't feel like you're worthy of that attention and love from yourself versus giving it to somebody else. And I can also relate to that as well because my whole life I've been a people pleaser. I figured the more I did for people, the more, kind gestures or favors that people would like me, and then I put that value in people liking me, but it wasn't real, and it wasn't real love, in a sense, if people were just using me to get something, and it wasn't real love for myself because I wasn't truly being myself. I was doing something to get something. I truly believe everything in life happens for a reason. Everything in this life is just a lesson to teach us what we want, what we don't want. And it brings us from one level to another, no matter how painful the experience might be. When I was younger, I was homeless off and on with my mom for a couple years in between different states. And when I say homeless, I mean not like we were just couch surfing, like yeah, we may have done that sometime and stayed with people here and there, but I mean literally sleeping outside on the ground because we had nowhere to go. That really did affect how I felt about my worthiness and my value to society because I had hit essentially what most people would consider rock bottom, and along with a group of people that a lot of society has disregarded and ignores. And that felt absolutely terrible. But I am so grateful that I went through that experience because it has shaped so much of who I am today. And now looking back on being homeless and a lot of other instances in my life where I felt I was deemed unworthy by society has helped me to really understand that you can take away everything from someone. Someone can lose everything, literally. They can lose their house, they can lose all their money, they can lose their relationship, their family might leave them. I mean, whatever it is, you can be butt naked, left in the middle of the desert, and you're still going to be valuable. You're still going to be worthy of everything you want and desire. It doesn't matter if you're stripped away literally with nothing. And this is a concept I think a lot of us hear and we're like, yeah, I know that. But a lot of times too, with our culture and society and wherever you grew up, there's still this underlying message of you're actually not valuable and you're not worthy if you don't have a bunch of things. It's a very, very unspoken but kind of understood thing. And that's why a lot of times people who are rich or people who are rich and famous, they get so much free stuff, they get so much attention, they get what maybe they perceive as love from fans and people they work with, and they're seen as very valuable. They're seen as they gotta have bodyguards to protect them because these people are worth a lot. We can't let anything bad happen to them, and if something bad did happen to them, then a lot of people around the world would be mourning and upset and very sad for a long time. And I think that's also why people can develop like shopping addictions. I mean, along with a bunch of other addictions, but I'll just use shopping as an example. And sometimes the more someone accumulates of physical things such as clothes or makeup or whatever have you, just a bunch of stuff, that it makes them feel like they're more valuable because they have a lot of things that may be considered valuable. But if you really think about it, if you take a person and a person is rich and they have a bunch of cars and they have a bunch of money, that does not add to their internal value. Just because they have a bunch of things and their net worth is considered, an obscene amount of money, does not make them as a person more valuable. Their value, their worth is going to stay the same internally. You can't add overall more worth to yourself, and you can't take away. So like, if I have an expensive car, it doesn't make me more valuable. If that car gets taken away, it doesn't make me less valuable. And a lot of times we base our value on other people and how they perceive our value. But just because someone fails to see your value doesn't mean that your value lessens anymore. Again, you just are. We're all worthy. We're all the same amount of worthy and valuable. Another big topic that I've mentioned in previous videos was feeling worthless because I didn't have a job. And this was when I got married and my husband and I moved out of state, and I left the job I was doing there and I couldn't find a job where we were living, and I got to such a dark, depressed state of being virtually suicidal because I literally felt like I had no value in this world. I had nothing to give nobody, including myself. And that I would not wish on anybody. It is absolutely horrible state to be in and feelings to feel. But I'm so grateful that I did, because now I still see I got through that. And yes, I still don't have a job at this moment, and I'm still valuable. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. So I invite you to take a look at your beliefs, your core beliefs. And the way that you can tell that you think you're not worthy for something, where you can identify these old beliefs that aren't serving you anymore, is when you start to think something like, I want to manifest more money, but I want to manifest a relationship, but I didn't have money in the past, or I don't currently have money now, or I'm terrible at relationships and I've had bad relationships that all ended badly in the past. So we need to stop basing our future or right now with what's happened in the past. That does not define you. Those were just experiences to help guide you towards what you want. Because when you really think about it, if you say, I'm not worthy of love, who's saying that you're not worthy of love? Your parents? Old friends? Your coworkers? Strangers? Like, who tells you that you're not worthy of something, and then why would you believe them? And does their opinion matter? Ultimately, no, it doesn't. The only opinion that matters is your own. Do you believe you're worthy of what you want? Do you think you're valuable no matter how much you have or how little you have? And so many times we delay our feeling of being good enough and our worthiness because we keep saying, I'll be worthy when I get that dream job. I'll be worthy when I get that good relationship and I get married. I will be worthy as soon as I get that promotion. And as soon as we get those things, then it becomes the next thing that we need to attain in order to keep feeling that worthiness, because we might feel good enough for a little while because of that excitement of something new or finally attaining what we wanted, and now we're trying to get to the next thing and we never fully feel worthy, whole, and complete within ourselves at all times, no matter what situation we're in, no matter what problems we're facing. Now I've realized I don't need to get and attain certain things or statuses in order to feel worthy within myself or to know I'm worthy. If anything, it's the opposite. I feel like I need to get rid of things and uncover what I've forgotten so long ago. I need to go back to where I was when I was a child, and I already knew I was good enough, because babies, they know, they're born with that instinct. But it's obtaining those beliefs over time and feeling like they're learning that they're not good enough because of, X, Y, and Z. So if anything, like I said, you need to uncover what you've forgotten. That means spend time in meditation, spending time alone, going within, listening to your higher self, to your soul, to your intuition. How is it that you're feeling, and why are you feeling that way? Letting go of old beliefs that don't serve you, beliefs of saying you're not good enough because you did this or you didn't do that. Letting go of people who may try to put you down and lower your self-esteem. Just letting go. It's not about getting more, it's about letting go. And I think that will really help you to just rediscover your self-worth and your value. And it never went away. Just because something gets covered up by a bunch of dirt or dust or gets buried doesn't mean that it's not there anymore. It's still there. It never goes away. So proof that you don't have to do something or be something in order to be deemed worthy is, take babies for example. Babies and children, small children. When you think about babies and small children, they don't work typically unless maybe they're in like show business and they do commercials or TV or movies. But generally, children and babies don't work, so they're not providing an income. They don't clean up after themselves initially until they get to an age, whatever age that the parents feel like they can start to contribute to chores and stuff around the house. And babies, even especially, they just kind of lay around and they play and they cry and they giggle and they watch life happening with their eyes. And we don't consider them worthless because they can't do a whole lot yet. I mean, we still, of course, love babies and children just because they're them, just because they're alive, because they exist, because they're in this world. And that's how you are too. Because if you exist, then you're worthy and you're valuable. It doesn't matter what you do or don't do. Same goes with animals and pets. I mean, my dog Skittles doesn't do a whole lot. I mean, relatively. He likes to sleep, he likes to eat, he goes to the bathroom, I pick up his poop. He sometimes throws up and makes messes around the house. He likes to play with his toys. And he doesn't work. He's not a dog that's like in the movies or TV or something. And so he doesn't contribute money to our household. He doesn't clean. In fact, like I said, he makes messes and I clean them up. And some people don't see the value in having a pet because they feel like it's too much work. But just the love that you get in return. Like, they just want to love and they just want to be loved. And that's what we all are naturally. We are all beings of love and light. We're infinite joy and we're infinite love, and our natural state is abundance. Even if you still don't think that you're valuable or worthy, you still are. But you need to believe it in order to truly feel it and to know it deep down in your heart, in your soul. And that is going to guide you through your entire life, no matter what happens. If something gets taken away from you that you identified with in order to be valuable or to be worthy, hopefully soon you will understand that you don't have to be doing anything to be valuable, and you don't have to own anything to be valuable, and you don't have to identify with your personality traits or characteristics or looks in order to be worthy and valuable. Alright guys, that's all I have for today. I hope you are doing amazing. Make sure to keep your vibrations high, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.